Exposed Vegan Media Podcast. I am your host, Zsa-Zsa Porter, a wife, mom, triathlete, and vegan chef. On this channel, you'll experience my ongoing docuseries capturing my swim, bike, run, and nutrition journey featuring all the people I interact with along the way. All right, first podcast. This is podcast on behalf of Exposed Vegan Media. This podcast is on behalf of all humans that want to learn everything there is to know about triathlon, as well as maintaining a healthy lifestyle. I am your host, Zsa-Zsa Porter, and my goal is to learn more with every podcast on how best to share this information with you. So today, I'm excited about our first topic, which is IRONMAN Puerto Rico 70.3. For those that are not familiar with what a IRONMAN 70.3 is, it is a swim distance of 1.2 miles on a lake, river, or ocean. Or a lagoon. It is also includes a 56-mile bike on a road and a 13.1-mile run on a road. Today, I am excited to share my guest, really good friends, also known as BGM, Black Brown Girl Magic. So excited to share them with you. I'll just share a little bit of information that I love about them. One, we raced in Ironman World Championship together in Kona, the first women's all World Championship race this past year. They are also Team Varlo, so further together, and I can really count on them to help me to release this first podcast, especially on Women's History Month, because our goal is to make history. So I'll pause and let them give a little bit of information about themselves, and then we'll get into the topic. So we'll first start with Annette.
Oh, okay. I am Annette Malesio. I am active duty Army MP, currently serving as an IG stationed at Fort Meade, Maryland. I've been in 17 years, 2 more years to retire. I started doing triathlons about 5 years ago. I started off, small distance sprint, Olympic, and then kind of jumped right into the Ironman distance. This is my first year. I'm fully retired from fulls. No more fulls for me. I'm only doing 70.3s from now on. So really excited about that. I actually at this point don't even know how I used to train for a full, feel overwhelmed just training for a half. So that's all I have. See?
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Next, I'll pass it over to Jamie.
I'm Jamie Dismute. I am a paramedic by day and a triathlete by evening. Of course. But yeah, I am working on my 10th year as a triathlete, and I got into it, if you didn't know, because of work-related stress. After the Boston Marathon bombing, they offered us discounted triathlon about a month before. Did a sprint, fell in love, and here I am, 8 Ironmans later, which means 7 halves, I guess. I don't know, quite a few. I stopped counting, but yeah. And I love Puerto Rico, so I'm glad we went back. Plan to go back again, so can't wait to talk about it.
Yes, so here we are. Thank you both for that introduction. So before we get into the race, something I think that is important is for us to share what we did leading up to the race. So I will push it back over to you, Jamie. How did you prepare for Puerto Rico? Give us the couple weeks before and then the week of.
So a couple weeks before, I started kind of trying to remember, the course and going back through my head about course recon, swim, the bike, the run, all those things, and kind of set little goals as to what I wanted to do, swim, bike, run transitions. And so it started with a mindset, getting into the race mindset of how to conquer Ironman 7.3 Puerto Rico. And then I also had already come off of a very healthy start to the year. So I wanted to make sure that I continued that healthy start. So I ate very clean leading up to the race and started to do more the same the same nutrition I was going to use on race day. I was using it every day. So, if it happened to work in with the workouts that I was doing, great. If it didn't, I still took on that nutrition that I would take in that on the bike in a 3 hour period every day, just to get my stomach prepared for it because, GI issues have been wreaked havoc on me previously in races. And then I also started doing cycling in hot works. So the sauna, it's an infrared sauna. It goes up to 130. At least I said it to 130.
Oh my
And would cycle at least 30 minutes twice a week in the hot work sauna. I already had been doing some like hot works core and bands. It just ended up being in that 2 weeks closer to the race, me just laying in the sauna, not really doing a workout. So yeah, and that's probably like 45 minutes. So I was spending maybe what's that, about an hour and a half,
What the hell?
about an hour, maybe almost 2 hours in a hot work sauna at 130 infrared heat. And then I started back cycling outside. So I made sure all of my bike rides were outside that 2 weeks leading up to it. And yeah, then I, of course, bike maintenance, made sure my bike was super clean. And then got all the race wheels put on, the tubes, all of that. Then started running in my race shoes as well. So I don't train in the same thing I race in, but I do in the last 2 weeks or the tapering time, even though I didn't really taper for this race. And I think that's about it. Yeah, I got into Puerto Rico on Thursday, and originally I was going to come later, but then I remembered that, transitioning to the heat, and then I also wanted to check in on day one so that I wasn't just like go, go, go leading into race day.
Thank you. You definitely
You're
shared a
welcome.
couple of tips that
Yeah,
I didn't add to mine.
Good.
And I don't feel like we talked about that in the group chat, so we will talk about that later.
I definitely. I think it's a really good idea, or like a good point that you just made that a lot of people probably don't know, and I actually didn't know until you just said that, was the nutrition, taking in the nutrition how you would on race day, and that makes a big difference because you're
Oh,
sometimes on race day, whatever, is not used to taking that much. Because like honestly, when I train, I barely take in nutrition. I just do whatever. And on race day, when you're like, every whatever I'm supposed to take nutrition, it's too much sometimes, especially for me. It gives me GI
no.
issues taking in that much calories and stuff, and then I end up not taking anything because I just can't take that much because I'm not used to it. But so that's a really good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. I started doing that, especially going to hot races, because it's hard to get it in. And when your stomach already ain't used to it, I was
Mhm.
vomiting every hot race and I had to
Yeah.
figure something out. So my bad. I didn't even think of it to tell. Yeah, my bad.
No, I do that already. I've told Annette
Yeah.
that. I was just
Oh,
talking
okay.
about the getting other things prepared, and then I didn't know you were spending that much time in heat.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I leading up, I was doing hot yoga. So I mean, maybe I was spending that much time because I was doing a class, and twice I did it back to back. So maybe I was. It just sounded a little different when
I
you
definitely
described
wasn't
it.
doing that.
Yeah.
Well, Hot Works is, I don't know if it's fairly new, but it was
I was gonna
fairly
say
new to
we
me.
have one here.
But you can
Yeah.
actually, like, they have a rower in there, they have bikes,
Mm.
and then everything. Those are your 15-minute things, but I just did them back to back. And then of course, every sauna, you're working out in it if you so choose.
Yeah.
And they're open 24 hours, so it makes it
Yeah.
really
I
easy.
have to look
It's
that up
called
to see if they have.
Hotworks. I don't think
Yeah,
I
Hot Works with a
have
X.
with an X. Okay.
Yeah. So Annette, what did you do to prepare weeks before and then the week of?
So honestly, my mind was like messed up. As you know, I was telling you, Z, I had an MRI done and I got like kind of bad news about my back. So I kind of wish that I didn't have that MRI done because it just kind of put me in a bad headspace, and I was like kind of doubting myself, and I had set kind of certain goals for myself, saying like, I want to try to qualify for world championships, and I was already like trying to ease that back. Like maybe I'm not going to be like fit enough. Maybe like this is not going to be a goal that I'm going to be able to achieve. So it was kind of like in a bad head.
We lost your audio for a little bit, yeah, but we can
Okay.
hear you now.
They were telling me not to really do any running because running puts a lot of impact on your back, and that's kind of when it gets flamed up. And not to spend a long time on my trainer. So I had to ease off the training a lot, and then that really was like working on my nerves. I was like, oh my god, I'm not doing enough. But I went in with very very low expectations, and race day I was able to do, maybe because I wasn't working out and my back wasn't so flared up, even though it was still hurting. Able to run and bike way better than I thought that I was going to be able to do.
Yeah, I mean, you both killed it, and obviously it worked for both of you.
Yeah.
But sometimes life happens, and I'm sure for people listening, it's good for them to hear, like, there's some things that you can prepare, and then there's other things where just things happen. Like for me, things happen. My grandmother was in one apartment, and a month before she moved in with me. So I had to get her moved out, get all of her food and everything all together. And then I had what appeared to be a shoulder injury. So I stopped swimming for a little bit. So, life happens, but I did best I could to prepare to get myself there, as well as doing, preparing nutrition wise, trying to do as many evening workouts and work on my back more to alleviate my shoulder, and then getting my family prepared for me not to be here for a couple of days. So that's always a part of my preparation. But with everyone, it looks different. So it's good to share all different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we were there race week. There's lots that we saw. We ran into quite a few friends and teammates for Team Varlo. So shout out to different members of Team Varlo. We had a couple of friends with us that were able to cheer for us on the course. And then came race day. Maybe we can go through each individual discipline. So, Annette, maybe you can share your experience first about the swim.
So Jamie had already kind of talked to us, in our group chat about the swim and different things to look out for. And then we got there early. So on Friday, we did a practice swim, and she kind of had us go the way towards the current. So I was aware of like how it was going to feel. And I don't know, I just say open water. I'm not really like a really good open water swimmer. I'm just kind of like all over the place. So I've just kind of just survived. Just get out of the water is my thing. I don't really have a strategy. Just try to stay close to the buoys and not try to veer off so much. But I think that the practice that we did, that I knew like how that current was going to feel, really helped, because when I got caught in it, even though I started to kind of like, like get a little bit like anxious, I was like already like, you just got to make it past this part, and then you're going to be okay. Like once you get past, that buoy, I'll be okay. So that really helped, because if not, I think I probably would have been like I would have got overly anxious.
Yeah, seeing it beforehand was
Right.
and testing the water out was able to help you. Yeah, Jamie, maybe you can share for us, because I know I saw a bit online, and then you shared quite a bit with us, and then being able to go there and test it out and knowing where swim start is, because I do get anxious. And so seeing in what direction things are, even in advance of the athletes briefing, that was really helpful for me. But how was the swim course for you during the race?
I love it. I mean, I feel like it's one of those, you get a nice little warm up, you go into the sun, sighting's not really a problem, but you gotta, prepare for that a little bit. And then towards the end, like that last 500, you hit the bridge, it's a washing machine, and then you kind of gotta pretty much veer in the right direction, and it gets a little crowded, and then you go up some stairs. So I enjoyed that swim. It's salt water, but it's not too salty. You get a little bit of buoyancy, and you don't have to pretty much deal with a wetsuit if you don't want to. So I love the swim. it it's not extremely clear water, but it's enough to where you can draft. And I made a point to try to draft a lot. Now, the point where I wanted to draft, I couldn't find feet that didn't keep stopping in front of me. So yeah, I still enjoyed the swim a whole lot.
Yeah, I think this was the first ocean swim where I was just like, where I didn't feel like I was gonna die. Because there's so, like Kona, I definitely thought this is just how I'm gonna go. I just need to,
Yeah.
that's just how it's gonna happen. But with this one, I didn't have, I looked at the map and I was like, oh, I spotted pretty well. I think it was pretty easy to follow the buoys. Um, though it was a wash, it wasn't as bad as other places. Like
Yeah.
Cozumel has that area. It was like, are we ever getting out of that water? I didn't feel that way. It didn't feel as long. So I thought it was a pretty decent swim.
Yeah.
And there was a part where I was like, I think I'm getting help. And then it led me right to the washing machine, so it was a little deceiving. But I was able to see through the water and see things on the ground and saw fish. So I do like that part about it. So yeah, I enjoyed the swim as well.
Yeah.
Until
I
we
think
got
being
to that
prepared and
transition.
oh yeah.
But go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, about the swim, like the first time I did it, I had no idea what it felt like. And
Mm,
so just that shock to the system kind of threw me for a loop and I literally wasn't going anywhere. But knowing if something's happening or where it's gonna happen, you're prepared for it and you're able to put your head down and fight through it. So I think just the knowing courses can sometimes be a more of benefit than just being like slapped in the face with
yeah.
looking like you're not going anywhere and the bridge is getting further and further away from you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really helpful that you gave us that information ahead of time.
Yeah.
So hopefully those that hear this and want to go to Puerto Rico and saw how much fun we had, you'll have this information in
Mm-hmm.
advance. Let's talk about that transition. Well, thank goodness you told us to bring sneakers. That was the week of. I was a little freaked out. I was like, oh my God, do I have room for an extra pair? But we got out the water and it was a mile to the,
I think it's like 0.7 miles. I think it's a
yeah.
little over half a mile.
Long as hell.
Mhm.
So most people keep shoes right there. It's not something that they bring up during athletes briefing, but right outside of swim exit is where you can have shoes. And Jamie let us know that we need to use that time to run to our bikes.
And shout out to
Um,
Jamie for letting us
yeah,
know to bring an extra
whew,
pair of shoes because we would
yeah,
have been ass
a
up.
mess. We would have been a mess. And yeah, I was really happy. Plus, I was feeling like I was getting my heart rate in a good place. I don't know if you guys felt that way when you're starting to like get to run and then get to your bike. I was like, oh, I feel pretty good doing this short little jog or whatever, coming out the water and going there with sneakers on versus like trying to avoid stuff with, with just bare feet. So I enjoyed that part. Anything you want to share about that wonderful transition?
Remember where your bike is? I literally could not find my bike and I was just going back and forth. And like right now, like how you think about things afterward, I was so mad and I was looking at like the transition times between me and like the people, like a few people,
Mm,
that got like 9, 8, 7, and it was just like few minutes. And that was me wandering around looking for looking for my bike because I couldn't find it. And I was like, what? And then finally somebody was like, what's your number? And I was just like, oh my God. So then I was like frustrated because I was like, I didn't spend all this time in here. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's my fault. I should have paid attention more, like walking this way. Next time, like, for sure I'm going to do like a walkthrough. Like I'm going to come out here, look for, like something to tell me because yeah, I was wandering around and that could have been a way smoother transition than what it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's happened to me so many times. I think it was North Carolina where I think I walked around in circles. I had a really good swim and all the bikes were there. Normally everyone's gone and I'm like, it's fine, my bike's right there. It's easy. But that time I had a really good swim and I'm like, crap, where's my bike?
That's what Jamie's like, well, I guess that means you had a good swim. I was like, I don't want to hear that. I should have known where the hell my bike is. Like, what the hell? How can you not find your bike? Like, oh, she's like, that hot pink bike, you couldn't find that bike? I was like, I don't know where it was. Like, yeah.
I just happened to be at an end, so it was easier. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jamie.
Well, so that's one thing about 70.3 Puerto Rico is it sits up against a bridge wall. There's no real landmarks and it's a small transition packed really tight. So remember how I was saying I want to get there early to get a low number so that I can know that my rack is going to be like close to an edge.
Oh.
That's why.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're ever trying to figure out, oh, is AWA worth it? Absolutely, because you're
You're right
going to
there.
get racking where you will be able to at least like you're going to be in one or two rows. You won't have to go through a
Mm.
sea of rows in a place that doesn't have many landmarks. Like their porta potties are all the way on a different side. So like because it's so small, it's such a small race, there's not really much you can do beside, and they won't let you put balloons. So there's
Yep.
that.
Right. Yeah. Can you give a little information about AWA since you dropped that acronym right there? Like
It
what
means
what is
all world
that?
athlete, and it is based on a ranking point system. And they rank you from gold to bronze. But the top 20, take that back, the top 17% gets AWA. And those benefits and it's by age group, and the benefits includes things like priority racking, a discount. The higher your ranking, the more of a discount you get in the Ironman store, as well as VIP passes and tickets. And then you get priority registration, which means you get tier one pricing if you buy during that priority or if you register during that priority window. So there's multiple benefits to it. They take your three best races. It's based on points. Though a 70.3 can give you as much as 3,500 points, and every minute you are behind first place, you lose 18 points. So, and then an full Ironman can give you 5,000 points. Every minute behind first place, you lose 12 points. So typically to get AWA, you're looking at you should aim for 6,000, and it can go anywhere from like 6,000 to like 5,500 sometimes, and then the higher the better.
See, I can hear Jay listening to this and saying, "Did she say that I'm going to be in VIP if you go faster? You better move."
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
decent discount for the VIP passes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cuz that's where he says that he belongs every time I race. All right. So, let's talk about the bike. Jamie, why don't you share your ride experience in Puerto Rico?
So it's a for me, it was a roller coaster. It started out horribly, but I still love the bike ride. So the within the first 5 miles, there is a couple bridges, kind of overpasses getting out to the coastline, and they have like those drain things for the water that goes across the road, but then there's these huge potholes, right? So there's some people there telling you that it's a big bump and you should slow down. And the first one though nobody was there. There's no mast. You can see like some striping on the road to kind of show you that it's you're about to go over a big bump. But I hit one of those bumps at 24 miles an hour and my toolkit comes out. And then I stop, go back, put it in. I'm less than 5 miles. I can't not have a change in flat thing, especially when I'm already, going 25 miles an hour over huge holes. So I'm bound to pop a tire, right? And so then I keep going, and the very next, hey, big bump here. Yep, it goes flying again. Everything comes out of it and are sprawled out all over the road. And I'm on one side trying to gather everything, and the guy who was telling everybody there's a big bump is trying to gather things as bikes are coming through. And I am literally in my head at that point bouncing between trying to tell myself to just calm down, it's gonna be okay. And then I couldn't put I have a twist. It's like it goes in a bottle cage and you twist it together, and it just kept spinning and spinning and spinning, and I am ready to throw it, but I can't throw it because I need it because I still got like 50 miles to bike, and this ain't looking too hot for me right now. So I eventually just put it on enough, like I pretty much just jammed it together and hope that it held. And then on every other bump, I just slowed down and started holding it. And then finally, I was like, wait a minute, I can put it in my top. And then as soon as I put it um in my tri kit, I remembered that they banned it. You can't have anything in your chest anymore. So now I'm like going down the road, emptying the contents and putting the thing back together and then stuck the bottle back into the cage. So like I got tubes, my CO2 cartridges are banging around, and then like because I had like there's a sack, but the CO2 cartridges came out of the little sack that held everything. So I'm just like, girl, just 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 let it go, like block it out. And then I got to the coastline and everything felt great. The first lap was wonderful. It was so wonderful. There's like beautiful waves, the flag bridge, I'm going fast. And then the second lap I hit the headwind and I knew it was gonna persist until I got to the finish line. So I had already like mentally put that in my head anyway. So but I had burned a ton of matches trying to make up time from when I had stopped. So I didn't have as much gas as I wanted to have by the end, but I had took a gel and just hope for the best and pushed it on in. But I still enjoyed the bike, even though I did not even remember, because I didn't even tell y'all about those bumps because I didn't even remember it myself. So
Well,
bad on me for that one.
no, I remembered. Well, we didn't know about it ahead of the race. You're right, but yeah, that first 5 miles, like I lost stuff, and I didn't stop because I didn't know where it went. So I was just
Mm.
like, okay, well, if I get a flat, this is it, because I lost all the stuff to take it to repair it. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. So Lord, just keep me for the rest of the 50 miles because it was the first five. I'm like, how is it the first five? I'm dropping stuff and things are falling apart. So yeah, you didn't tell us about that, but it's not the majority of the race, so I could see why we didn't mention it. So I'm
Yeah.
glad we're sharing it with people now.
Yeah.
Annette, how was your experience?
Kind of like you said, the beginning, I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, this is Tulsa? Is this about to be Tulsa again? Like, what is happening? And I remember, like, when you're going through the bridges, that there's like those, they're like, they're not holes, but they're like, they're like it's like a crack.
Yeah,
Those
in the
cracks.
road.
And like, bam, my head is so, I was like, fuck. And then this guy walks by, he flies by me. He's like, yeah, seriously, what the hell? He's like, nobody told us about this. And we're like talking back and forth. I'm like, but I mean, just like Jamie says, I think it was a good ride. I wasn't too much like looking around. I was just kind of just trying to concentrate. I'm trying to stay aero because of like my back. I can't really stay aero. So like the few times that you passed me, Z, I was like sitting up. Did you say like get down and arrow? You said something to me, and I was like, what?
No, I was yelling what they were yelling at me. Boricua! Like I was saying, vamos! Like I was saying everything else say to me. I was trying to keep my spirits up. So it's always great to see friends on the course when you're riding.
It is. I was like, I kept looking. I was like, where's Jamie? I should pass Jamie soon. And then on the way back, I was like, I should see Z. But and then when you turn around on that second lap and that headwind, and I was just like, what is happening? I was like, how did I slow down this much? And then everybody was like, oh, it was headwind, because I was like, well, maybe I'm not taking in enough nutrition. But I was happy to hear it was headwind. But overall, not a bad bike.
Yeah, had the same experience. That last 5 miles felt like a long way to go.
I feel like it was more than 5 miles.
Maybe the last 10, 7.
How many?
You come out of the coastline with 10 miles.
10, right? That's all
10
like,
miles to get to the coastline, yeah.
Yeah. 10.
The last 5 is like the in-town bridges, though, where the roads
Going through
get a little rough.
Yeah.
And that's
And
where
I was
like you just kind of got those risers from the bridges, basically.
From the bridges, yeah.
Right. Because I was like, wait a minute, this said flat. Where did all this come from?
Nothing is ever flat.
ever, except for Cosmo. Okay, so now the run, also known with several different names to it, like the microwave, the Terminator, and the little monster. Annette, why don't you start us with the run and your experience?
So big mistake, like I told you, and I think I was talking to Jamie about this. I did not know that because Puerto Rico is part of the United States, I assumed that they were going to have Martin gels. So I did not pack any gels because I planned to take Martin gels from the course. And then when I took a gel, it was something else. Now I don't even remember what it was. And I didn't want to take it because I didn't want to have an upset stomach because I never took it or heard of it before. So I was pretty much, I did the run off no gels. I was just taking stuff off the course like bananas, drinking Coke, and oranges. So, um, but Jamie had pretty much prepared us for it. You know, in my head, I knew it was going to suck. I knew it was going to be hard. It was way harder than I thought it was going to be. It was like, it's super hot and humid, and the hills. You know, I'm thinking they're like rollers, like that hill where you come up and you go up that like one road where you make the turn. You know, where we're going to Old San Juan to go to that restaurant. That
Mm-hmm.
hill was like, and I told myself in my head, no walking. Like whatever you do, don't walk. Like you'll be able to make up time on the run. Like don't walk. After that hill, I was like, yeah, I'm walking the hills. Like because they elevated my heart rate really high. And then sometimes when my heart rate gets really elevated, it takes a long time for me to try to get it down. And then I didn't want to just end up walking, so I just started walking every hill. Not just I wouldn't even attempt it. I was just like, I'm just gonna walk it. But I wish that I probably would have ran more of them, just not that one, and the one going where that like cobblestone is. And then like I said, for not having nutrition, I don't think that, you know, I think I did okay for that run, and for it to be so hot, I just need to make sure that I pack nutrition regardless, because you know maybe they could run out, and you know, so that's my bad as well. I'm not doing that, but it's hot, so anybody that wants to do it, just know it's super hot and humid, and the hills. It's like it's not that there's a lot; it's that you do the course 2 times, so you go out and back, and then out and back again. And with the heat, you just feel so. Why are you looking like that, Jamie?
There's no flat section of that course. You're either going up or down.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah,
thing is.
Yeah.
true. Um, yeah, I mean it's a tough run. There's no, you can't say like it's a tough run, and I think just the heat makes it that much worse. There's zero shade, so you're just in the sun, in the heat with hills, suffering.
The whole time.
But there is wonderful crowd support. Minus when you go to El Moro, there's no crowd support over there. But then you know when you go in and out, there's like people right there cheering, so that helps keep your spirits up. But yeah, I thought overall for as hot as it was, we did great. So
Jamie, what's your perspective on that run course?
Well, I knew it was going to be hard. Um, so I thought I was prepared for it, but it was much harder than the first time I did that run. But I got off the
Why was
bike.
that, by the way? Because I've heard you
It
say
was the
that
temperature.
twice.
Like, yeah, so we had an overcast the first year I did it. And it
mm,
wasn't, you didn't get beat down by the sun as much. Like the temperature was the same and it was still pretty humid, but there was no like direct sun the whole time because we had an overcast. But
mm,
I got off the bike and it was like walking into the sauna. And I'm like, okay, where the water at? Like my handheld water bottle was like boiling water. So I was knew I had to drink it, so I still drank it. And yeah. And so I had already made the plan to walk with the purpose. Um
okay,
so I've been doing a 10-minute run and then walking for 30 to 45 seconds because I that's like gonna be my plan to walk aid stations versus trying to run through them and not getting the nutrition that I need. But I also knew it was too hot and I couldn't take any gels. So I had gels and did not take them because it was too hot. Like I was too hot for that. And I knew it wasn't going to sit right. So it was going to be like, if I'm crashing and burning, then I'll take the gels. So I had nutrition in my handheld water bottle. So I wasn't too worried because I had both just in case, prepared for, I thought I was going to get hot later. So like I said, I made a plan to walk with a purpose and I walked the big hills and I knew I did not want to walk at any point in the microwave, which is what Annette was referring to as El Morro. So, and I don't roll my R, so
that is so good
talk crap.
though.
So yeah, I made a plan to walk through there, and then that's where she's talking about the brick. Like when you come out of there, there's this like you're climbing for about a quarter mile, maybe a little bit more before you get to the aid station. So you run down these bricks, go to El Morro, and then you're like in the direct sun. You go, you come out and back, and it's probably a little over a mile. And then when you get out, you do get a little bit of shade, but you're climbing all the way to the aid station. So I would run down it and then run through, and then of course I'm like hot and bothered. All my ice is gone, and then run up to the and then walk up to the aid station up the steepest part of that hill. So I did walk that one, and then the turn was it the I think it was the Terminator, not the Little Monster. Walked that one, and so yeah, I try to take advantage of as much shade as possible. Even though people be cheering and standing in the shade, I just got real close to them, and sometimes they'd even give me water. Hey, so yeah, I just did what I could, but I was suffering on the run like that. I was really suffering. So, yeah, I was glad when it was over and I got to finish at the top of the cliff with the waves hitting. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything new to add except for I was, mad the whole run. So you can see it in all the pictures, which is funny
Hmm.
to me now. Wasn't funny then. Um, I loved every volunteer at the aid stations because so many could see how annoyed my face was, and they took that as like, "Oh, you're dehydrated and you're dying, so let me just pour ice over your head," and so that would cool me off. So I didn't. Sometimes they would go around other people because they'd see me coming, like, "You can do it," and what I didn't share earlier is that my chip wasn't working and I was on my third chip for the race. So I just thought nothing was going to count. So why am I even over there? But I don't have a phone or anything. I would just want to get on one of these scooters and be done. Um, but at the end, they were able to pace all of my times together to make sure that I got credit for the race. So I was pretty ticked off during the run course, as well as hot, like everyone else said. Though I prepared for the hills and the heat, I mentally wasn't in a great place, which, I have to do better at. Like, push no matter what. And I think that's what I learned the most out of it. Like, no matter what, like, things will work out in the end, and just to, run through that. And so there were times where I did do it. I'm like, well, screw it. I should at least have, in case these crazy ladies say that we need to come back here because I don't know what Jamie's talking about. Annette says one and done. Jamie's like, we'll be back. And I'm like, what?
One and done.
So,
One and done.
so
I will come
but I mean,
here.
there's parts of Puerto Rico that I didn't see. So there's a little piece of me could say that I would do it again
We didn't do any
because
excursions.
we didn't do any excursions. And I enjoyed the swim and the bike. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit
Relay.
I'm a little bit, yeah, iffy on going back. But
I'll be down for a relay.
yeah.
See,
Yeah,
Puerto
so
Rico
we'll
is
see.
very special to me, so I will be back.
Yeah. So that's the race. Why don't we talk about, we did talk a little bit about nutrition, but we found several places to eat while we were there. I'm just going to mention my favorite, which was the food truck park. Jay and I went there before the race, and I took some food to have after the race. And so we were able to, get food from about four or five different trucks. And then another place that was kind of my favorite, which was Freshie, where I got beet juice from and just some things that I really needed, that I needed as a part of my weekly regimen, being vegan. So I was really happy to find that place. But I know a couple places that you ladies went to. I really want you to describe the fish, but also
Jamie, that's all
share.
Jamie. That's all Jamie.
I'll also share what were some of your favorite places to eat while you were there, if you had any.
For me, uh, like I'm not a big fan of the food choices in Puerto Rico, but the fried red snapper is one of my all-time faves when it comes to, food. I love fish. So they do that quite nicely. And the Tropical Cafe right at the venue is where I would always get it. They kind of changed up their salsa, which is what they put on the fish. And so, Annette's cousin and uncle had came and showed us this place that's at the T-Mobile Convention Center area. And that one OMG. Like it was flavored to perfection. Um, if you're very salt sensitive, I wouldn't suggest it. Like go to Tropical Cafe, but because it's the one at T-Mobile Center, which Annette can probably tell you the name of it. That one is seasoned so nicely. Like I like it. But if you are a salt sensitive person, like it is heavily seasoned. So Tropical Cafe would be good. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna post a picture of my fish at some point on social media, so you'll be able to see it. But I pretty much could have ate fish every day because that's what I ate the years before. But
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
it looked
big
good.
on fish person. Yeah.
Annette, did you have a favorite place?
So my favorite place was that food truck place. I just like the vibe, even though we really didn't get to like sit down and enjoy it. Like the food was good. They had a little bar. The bar had good drinks, and then the tropical place where we had the fish. They have some banging mojitos. They were delicious. And so, when was that? The day after the race. Yeah, because the awards thing, right? So the
Yeah.
day after the race, we went, had some food, and we just sat there and drank. We had a whole bunch of different drinks. They had really good pina coladas, and the mojitos were delicious. So that was my next favorite one. And then the place that I went to the first day, Besos, they had really good mofongo, con camarones, which is just like mofongo, like a fried plantain, and they kind of like smush it together, and they put kind of like a stewed um, shrimp inside. It was so good. So
Yeah, I missed that day. That sounded good.
yeah.
Um, Cafe House, I thought was good too. I almost forgot about them. We had brunch there
Mm,
twice,
yeah.
so
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah,
were good.
that place.
Yeah.
They were good.
We
And it
went
had a
there
nice
twice.
ambiance. Yeah, we went there
Yeah,
twice. Ambiance where we were sitting, and
my
they had nice virgin drinks. So yeah, those were good.
that
Anything we
place
want to?
drinks too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Anything we want to share about like transportation or accommodations? We want to give people as recommendations.
Scooters, Jamie. That scooter
Yeah.
was the best. What's rising? Once we got on those things, I was like, that's the best invention Puerto Rico ever had because
Yeah. Me personally, I have never rented a car going to San Juan, so I don't know how that feels. But to me, I feel like you can get around a lot quicker on the scooters. And
yep,
the way those roads are built, baby, like I'm not finna go around the world because there are a lot of one-way streets. So it
there
feels
is.
like
Right.
when I was in the Uber going to and from the airport, like you feel like you're driving around the world when you can see the building that's trying to get to. But
Yeah.
yeah, the scooters was the way to go.
Yep,
Cycling in that area,
yep.
don't try it all day long. Be careful because you might get hit. So that like I wouldn't suggest cycling on the roads, but they have quite a few bike paths and all that. But the scooters was bump.com, so and they're
Yeah.
readily
Scooter.
available at most places.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was my first time on scooters. Normally I'm just like, no, we're gonna die. And then I think we had to walk somewhere. I wanted to get a bowl, and Jay was like, let's just get on the scooter. And hunger is what did it. That's what made me get on there. And after that I was just like, let's get on the scooter. I wanted to get on the scooter every
Yes,
time.
the
I didn't want to
scooters
walk
were,
anywhere.
and we were like, Jamie she be zipping around in them scooters. That
She passed
that
me
on
when I was on my bike
oh,
and she
this
was
is
on
the
a scooter.
shit.
And I was like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
so thank you, Puerto Rico, for introducing me. So
Mhm.
are we recommending this race for folks?
Oh,
Of,
it's a
of
good
course.
yeah.
I
It's a
mean, of
good
course.
party thing too. Like if you want to go race and then like like party
Hmm.
after like a relay, that probably be the best way to go if you're looking to like just be drinking and stuff every day and having a good time.
Yeah.
Sure.
And because weather-wise, outside of the race, like it it did rain a couple days, but for the most part, if you weren't out there running like your life depended on it, or you was racing, you got a good nice breeze. You got to find some shade, but that direct sunlight while trying to run, that's where it's hot. But I actually like not during the race. The weather temperature was like nice.
Yeah.
Like yeah, there was some times where you stood in the sun and started sweating a little bit, but it just make you glisten. It wasn't nothing terrible. So yeah, I recommend it. I will say I have not stayed in a hotel in San Juan either. So I've always done Airbnb. Hit us up if you want to know exactly where to stay if you plan on doing this
Yes.
cruise. But the Hilton didn't have water. So Tom, who stayed at a hotel, didn't get to take a shower the whole time.
Yeah. Shout
Oh,
out to
I just threw
Jamie
him
though.
under the bus.
Jamie
He'll
told
be
us
all right.
those Airbnbs were bomb. They were like, I mean, I'm like, shoot, I want to go buy one of those places. They were so nice. Super open floor plans. They had everything. It was so convenient. You literally walk downstairs, take a little scooter, or you could walk. First of all, your walking distance to the beach. We just took all our lawn chairs and we went.
It was a
Got
block
like
away,
went to
block
the
and a
gas
half.
station. We went to. It was like perfect. And then your walking distance or scooter distance from the start. It's really great location. I would definitely do an Airbnb again versus like a hotel. You have a kitchen, full size kitchen. I mean, it's just we had 2 rooms, living room. You know, it was perfect. So definitely
And
Airbnb.
it wasn't a far distance from like Old San Juan to go down just to get on
True.
a scooter.
It was
So it
like
just seemed
yeah,
a very convenient spot. So surprising that maybe because it's an early season race, you just don't see as many people. But yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So it looks like we're recommending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first podcast done. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. I'm so excited to share all this information with our listeners. Again, thank you to my first participants, my first guest. We hope to share more throughout the year because, again, we plan on being all over the world and sharing what we know so that we can have more people that look like us on the course. Thank you. See you next time.